showing up again. Much appreciated. We will get started with the sessions for today. So, like we explained yesterday, so we will start with the panel, go on to discuss about flow, and then analytics and data prep, and finally we will end with catalyst. That's going to be the flow for today in this track. Just that this track ends one session before others, in the sense that the developer track here ends at 2:20, and 2:20 to 3:30 there is a break, so you can feel free to go to any other track that you want to have a look at. 3:30 we will have a common session again in the common room, where there will be a Q&A with the leadership team, where we will have everybody again coming together, and then with the group pick we will end the day. So that's the plan for today. Please do visit the booths that you see. There are our sponsors or partners who have put booths. Exhibitors, feel free to go around and understand what they have to offer. And also we have our own booths as well. Some experiments that we are doing around AI in terms of virtual reality tools as well. Feel free to go and experience what we have to offer there as well. With that, we will get started. So the first session for today is a panel discussion. I request the esteemed panel members to please come to the stage. We have Dave from Allergy Standards, Adrian from Quincely, and Amanda from Saint-Gobain. Thank you so much for doing this first. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. This is a slightly tough session for me to do because generally I am used to do the talking. So in this session, I'm going to be the listener. I have a few points, maybe 15-20 minutes of conversation on certain key points that I would like to start the conversation with, getting the opinion from the esteemed panel members. And then we will have an open Q&A for at least the last 10-15 minutes. So that's the overall objective of the session. We'll get started with the most easiest of all. Kindly start with a quick introduction about yourself and your organization.
Good morning everyone, my name is Adrian, co-founder of Quincely. Quincely is a B2B app for the food industry, really to control compliance, to make compliance both easier but more robust for auditors. Built from the ground up on Creator and is now operating in many different manufacturers, fish and chip shops, and big events companies as well, so quite broadly distributed.
So you act as a distributor of?
That's right, yes. So I created the app and I now sell that on to a number of different companies, small and large. The sweet spot is really the SMEs.
Oh, nice. Okay, thank you so much. We'll move to Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave Morrissey. I head up innovation at Allergy Standards, which is part of the IAIR group. Our goal in life is that we help people breathe healthier indoor air. So we test and certify products that claim to improve indoor air quality, like air cleaners, vacuum cleaners, and also building materials like flooring, paint, insulation, and bedding as well. Anything that sort of wants to make a claim that they help improve indoor air quality, we will test and certify.
Awesome. What geographies do you operate in?
We're based in Ireland, but we're mainly, I'd say we're more famous in the US than we are anywhere else. So mainly in the US and the Far East, China, okay, Vietnam, places like that.
And you're based out of?
We're based out of Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, nice. Okay. Thank you so much. Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm the changed jobs since this. I'm the head of IT in Ireland. Saint-Gobain is a multinational company. We have businesses throughout the whole world. I deal with the businesses within Ireland. I also deal with businesses within the UK as well. So that goes from construction products right through to glass, through to pharmaceutical. And we started on our Zoho journey about 6 years ago now.
Do Creator customers get any special offer from Saint-Gobain since we are here?
I don't get any special offers for signing up.
Okay, and we'll start with understanding about you a little more, all three of you. Can you tell us about your IT exposure? Are you from the IT side? What sort of technologies have you used so that we get a pulse of your IT side of things?
Okay, so my role literally runs from dealing with SAP, which is our ERP system. We also use Salesforce. We use obviously Office 365, everything that's going on, actually, Visio, etc. But I also deal with the hardware within the business, so I deal with the networking, the Wi-Fi, hardware, making sure people's laptops are working. So I'm responsible for anything IT related, that's both software and hardware. So if you have an issue with actually anything within the business, not that it comes to me, but it comes to my team.
Understood. You're a busy person. Got it. Thank you so much for doing this. We'll go to Dave. Have you done any coding in the past? What sort of technologies have you been exposed to before you started Creator? That was the intent of the question.
I suppose I started my career in IT running around 1998 in Ireland, where I had an amazing transferable skill. I knew how to do HTML, which was in demand, back then. So I really started in the web development and things, making websites for sort of household names in Ireland through various different, whether that was mortgage brokers or just musical instrument stores. And then I did a lot of e-learning as well. So we turned a lot a company in Ireland who were doing training for IBM. We turned their chalk and talk classroom training into online learning back in 1999. And then we trained about 10,000 IBMers around the world, where they were able to start on day one into their sales training journey rather than wait for a class 3 or 4. I mean, this is early days of the internet, as you can imagine. So it was kind of very revolutionary at the time. And then over time, I started working with ASL as kind of outsourced IT contractor coming in sort of 1 day a month, and then 1 day a week, and 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and then eventually it was like, well, do I actually have my own company anymore? But it made me the offer I couldn't refuse, and I came and joined about 8 years ago. I started full-time with ASL.
Thank you.
So with me, the answer is absolutely not. So I'm actually trained as a chef from school, and I've worked in the food industry for most of my life. So whilst I've always had a little bit of an interest in software and IT, and playing around with access databases and things like that, I have absolutely no formal IT training whatsoever. By accident almost, I stumbled into the world of software probably about 15, 16 years ago. I was working as a consultant for a hotel. I was asked to look at a software system they were using. I got very friendly with the person who had created this piece of software. He was struggling with his interface between himself and the industry, so I filled that gap for him. Just sort of escalated from there. I finished up working for a much larger SaaS company. And doing implementation, you spend a lot of time sat with developers, sat with development teams, and I just absorbed a lot. Eventually thought, maybe I could do this myself, realised I couldn't, but actually I found Creator. That was the trigger to say, you know what, you probably can.
Oh, perfect. Maybe that's a good segue to get into that discussion. Why did you get into low code? What triggered Creator or any solution for that matter? But why did you get into this, let's say, new sort of an area instead of a traditional development?
Well, I was commuting from the Midlands to London every day to Covent Garden, which is where our office was, and after 7 years that just got too much, so I decided enough was enough, and I broke away from the company I was working for. And with my business partner, we saw an opportunity to create a compliance app for the food industry. There was a real need there. There were other solutions doing the job, but they were very, very complex, and in the food industry, people just want big buttons, and they don't want to mess around with lots of drop-down menus and things like that. So we sort of set out to build something. We looked at the possibilities of employing a team to build the solution for us. I would have architected it. That was just too expensive. We thought about outsourcing it again, it was too expensive, so I just started exploring other ways. I looked at the numerous low-code platforms. I won't mention the names here, but there were some very key functions within Creator that really sort of made me settle on Creator as the right one. I was quite apprehensive to begin with. You never really know whether it's going to do the job, whether it's really going to achieve your aims, but very, very quickly, I actually started on C4, very quickly migrated to C5, and realised very, very quickly that actually I could do it with my limited IT skills. It was relatively easy, and I could build something that was quite sophisticated and looked extremely professional. So that's precisely what we did. It took a little bit of time. The pandemic and everything else has made the rollout of it quite tricky, but it's really now taking off, and we're starting to see the dividends of it.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your Creator usage, in the sense how many folks use it, what level of data flows in, how complex is the solution?
So the system's actually become quite complex. It started off as just a way of capturing things like a fridge temperature record and a a cleaning record and things like that. So things that traditionally would be done on pen and paper. The auditors hated that sort of thing because somebody could sit in the office on Friday afternoon and fit all the fridge temperatures on Friday afternoon, so it had no relevance to it. So what I wanted to do was to take the users to the point of the check. So I use QR codes, we put QR codes onto the fridge. The user has to go to the fridge to be able to take the record, and it time, date stamps everything. Of course, that's non-editable. But of course, that then grew. Every time I showed somebody, said, well, could it do this, could it do that? And what I soon found is that when I looked at a small food manufacturing company, they'd have their own fleet of vehicles, and they do things like vehicle driver checks and making sure the vehicle's in the condition to go out and deliver and things like that. So I added a module on that did that. And then somebody else could have checked my fire extinguishers for me as well. Essentially, the principles are all the same, so it just grew and grew and grew. It's become quite complex. We're able to do the full traceability of the product from effectively from farm to fork. And I have the ability now, if I can get the right supply chain involved, I could literally go from the grower of the carrot to the supermarket shelf and be able to show the traceability of that product all the way through with a good amount of robustness. So become quite complex now, but
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing this. Dave, can you tell us about how you started or why you started with Low-Code and where are you currently with it?
Cool. Yeah, I was just looking back through our records and our systems from when we started. So we started with CRM initially, was our first Zoho experience. That was in 2008. So it was kind of, when I came into the business, I was trying to support digitizing what they were doing and making something that was more robust than an Excel sheet, for example. So I was getting our customers into CRM at the time. And we came over to the first Zoholics that was in the UK, I think it was in 2015. And Creator was I'm not sure if it was launched or it was one of the sessions that came out. We had a problem that we were looking for a solution. It wasn't a solution looking for a problem, we actually had a problem in that all our certified products shared between some of the laboratories that we were working with were in an Excel sheet, but that was just not a way to work that was going to be trackable and traceable. So we created our first application to put all the products that we had tested and certified into a Creator database, which would then link back to CRM through an easy lookup field. There was no creating any complex APIs or having to do any code at all. It was drag and drop to create the application, and then the link with CRM was really, really easy. And then we embedded the module within the CRM record of the account. So anybody who went into the account in CRM could really easily see what products were certified. Similar statement story, just grew legs then. It was, well, okay, what else can we do with it? And at the time, we would physically have to create certificates every year for products that were certified, which would then get posted out to the manufacturer. So, Dyson, for example, we certified their air cleaners, their vacuum cleaners at the time. Every year, they would be getting a certificate for every product that was certified. And we'd, the CEO and our chief medical officer at the time would have to physically sign both of those certificates. And it could take up to 14 days. So you can imagine that's just one manufacturer. We had, I think, 30 manufacturers at the time. So it was a real laborious process to go through this. And then manufacturers would need to start, for example, if Dyson were doing a QVC or US, they'd have to present the certificate to prove that the product was certified as manufacturer. So we basically took the product database and we created an app within it where we were able to go from a process which sometimes to create a certificate would take 14 days to taking 5 seconds. And because we could just, it was all traceable, and a senior scientific officer would need to tick the box that we could create a certificate, but the actual process was just to press a button, we generate a certificate, and then that certificate would get emailed to the user. So it was a real time saving, and plus the customer was really, really happy because they were able to get the certificate instantly. So, but I say that's maybe 10 years ago, about 7, 8 years ago, sorry. But we've come on with Creator since, in that we've created a client services portal now, which the whole back end is run off of Creator, all the various different apps that we have. So the users are now actually able to log in and download their certificate, view their products when they're due for renewal, download all the documents that they have with us, like their legal contracts, their NDAs, everything. So we've gone from like a single app, which was just listing out our product database internally, to now exposing it to our clients and allowing them to products as well. So it's been a real, Creator has been a real journey with us on to do that. Client services portal, I actually went out and visited the team in Chennai, and they supported the whole access of how we were going to access multiple apps, because at the time, I think it still is the case that each app has its own portal, whereas we have multiple apps that allow users to be able to access. So we had to build a joiner app that when they logged in, they were then able to access all the apps that they needed. So the Creator team really supported me on that channel.
Thank you so much, Steve. Like, sometimes I myself get surprised when seeing these use cases that are built on top of Creator. Like, oh wow, you can do this on Creator. So thank you so much. And Saint-Gobain is a large organization, so how easy was this adoption of Zoho? How did you start? What was the initial part?
Okay, so my history before I started in Saint-Gobain, I was with another company that we use Zoho CRM, and we actually we created a lot of different modules that did an awful lot of different things that Zoho CRM probably should never have done. So by the time I left, we had to do stock rotation, we had to do stock takes, we nearly had to do the payroll at one stage. At that stage, I wasn't aware that there was a such thing as Zoho Creator. So when I went into my new role, there was a really big problem, and we had a lot of different third-party haulers that deliver our goods. So they deliver for us to our customer, but our customer pays us. And we weren't getting these PODs back. And when we were getting the PODs back, they had like chocolate and ice cream and whatever else stuck to them, or they were torn and we had footprints, and and our customers were quite aware of this, and wanted a POD to pay us. So you can imagine, it took a very long time to get these PODs. When we did, they weren't in a very good state, and this was a problem that was ongoing. So we looked at it and we tried to see what solution was out there. So we did look for out-of-the-box solutions. We couldn't find anything. Nothing that would fit having all of these different hauliers working for us, but servicing our customers. So we then decided, I went looking then for a solution, and I was like, well, I tried everything in Zoho CRM, like maybe I could manipulate it. And then when I went actually looking at Zoho Creator, I was like, oh, that'll do it. So from there, then we started creating it. That took a bit of time because I actually had to integrate with our ERP system. So it wasn't as straightforward as just doing the drag and drop and going with it. So in the meantime, while we were actually getting that application up and running, I identified a health and safety issue that we had on site. So we were very big on health and safety in Saint-Gobain. It's our number one before profit, before anything. And we were recording our health and safety stats on this old SQL system. So people were going around with a piece of paper and finding these health and safety faults, coming in, handing them into an administrator who was then uploading them onto this SQL server that nobody had access to, by the way. Then the person would then have to create emails to let people know what they needed to do to fix the issue that was found. So if there was a health and safety issue, it actually took the person that was meant to fix it nearly 3 to 4 weeks to actually know about it, never mind start fixing it. So we created what we call Sláinte, so in Irish that means health. So we created Sláinte, and Sláinte is our health and safety app. So what it does is it actually automatically schedules safety smarts for different areas within the business throughout all of our sites for random individuals, for random event days. So nobody gets to do the same place twice, and nobody gets to choose cushy numbers as in the office. It can randomly send you down the mine, or it can randomly send you into the pharmaceutical company. But it's random, and everybody has to do it. It's part of our employee contract. From that, then it actually schedules, it tells you when you to do it. It lets every manager know if you haven't done it. And then it records actually what you found. So we record positives as well as negatives. So we reward those areas that we find are good, and then we fix the areas that are not so good. And we are able to manage on KPIs about how long this takes, etc. So it's been really innovative. This was the very first one we launched, and so that was now 6 years ago. And we have, I think, there's 120 people that use it. That one, we're now rolling it out into more businesses as we're going, and we're actually looking at it again. This is why it's probably a big thing. We're looking at now doing phase 2 because we've learned so much in the last 5 years. The Zoho Creator apps that I create now are nothing, they don't look anything like what I create then. Because, Zoho Creator has improved, I've improved, we've all learned, it's a great journey. And so now we're actually looking at redeveloping it and for it to do more. And then in the meantime, the POD app did go live. So the POD app then, it was brilliant. So we now had it was instant from our customers. If a customer said that something was wrong, they instantly get a credit note. There is no waiting 3 to 6 weeks or never getting a credit note. They actually get it instantly. If it's something, our customer service team get notified immediately, so they can actually get on the phone and have a discussion with the customer, make sure that the customer is happy. So that's been really important. That then rolled out into our loader team. So our loader team now use that app to load. So we have a full integration with SAP and with our SAP, and we call it TRASA. So it's another Irish word. So there's a bit of thing. So with this, our loaders actually use tablets to load everything, and it actually helps them how to load build. So we actually use the AI within Zoho now to actually not predict, but to kind of advise where they can put it on the truck. So there's different rules around how, with different weights and things of how the truck can be built. So it helps them do that. And then we, if they short load, if there's something damaged on loading, it's immediately done, so the customer doesn't get charged in the first place. Yeah. And then for receiving goods, we do it from there too. So it is fully integrated within the business. Yeah, it's very, Zoho Creator is a very important part of Saint-Gobain.
Thank you so much. One important thing to note here is special thanks to all 3 of them, because there was no rehearsal. They didn't even know what questions are coming, and they're being very open. So I'm going to put them in a spot and ask a tough question now. Let's say I am sitting there as an audience trying to understand. I got some pulse of what this creator is about. What would be your advice to me? How should I start? What should I not do? If I were someone who has a vague understanding of creator and I have problems that I want to address and I think this tool can help me, what is the next step? How should I go about this?
Sorry, tackle that one first. I suppose try and really start with the end in mind, so work back from that. I always try to do that when we're developing any app. Don't look for a problem, have an actual problem that's looking to be solved, and try and map it out, what the actual journey is. I think it's part of this yesterday with some of the team we were talking about CRM, but it works with any, I think, application that you're going to do is actually physically map it out on paper or a whiteboard or draw it out, and then see what can we do that that can be solved by either an app that already exists within the Zoho ecosystem, or no, it doesn't exist. I need to create something customized here, and really try and physically get there before you start. Even though it is a low code app, it still needs some thinking to it. It's not just drag and drop and it all happens. You have to really figure out what you need to do and how you're going to do it. And then try and bring all stakeholders in. When we did our client services port, for example, where we were developing a tool that most of our apps initially were all inward facing, were just for us and our team. But when we were doing the portal, it was like, okay, well, how is this going to help our customers? So we did interviews with all our customers, where we asked them what was the issues that they were having with us, what did they need from us that they weren't getting, and then we brought that all in, and that became part of how we developed the apps that we're developing. So yeah, really do a lot of research before you start dragging and dropping and coding it up, and would be where it started.
Got it.
I'd echo a lot of what Dave said there. I think I'd also say that really understand what your final aim is. So one of the things I found is that all the low-code systems, including Zoho, is it's single-tenanted, it's not multi-tenanted, and I'm working with multiple clients, and I have to really think about a way to be able to segregate the data of all my clients on a single-tenanted platform. So that was a real challenge. So I had to really sit down and plan out, map out, architect the system very, very carefully before I even started doing anything. Because I was totally new to Creator, I think if I was to advise anybody else who's doing the same sort of thing, you're going to build something that's going to be reasonably sophisticated, be prepared to have some struggle time. Build something that you're just going to scrap at the end of the day and make all your mistakes on that. Learn things. So one of the things I learned is that there's some really powerful functions with subforms in Creator, and you can just drop subforms in at the drop of a button. And I very, very quickly found when I was doing the test or the prototypes that actually those subforms don't really work. What you need to do is you need to have completely separate forms. You need to have subforms that are forms in their own right, because you don't get the reporting that you need from just subforms that are dropped in. So make those mistakes on a piece of throwaway software that you can understand, that you can find what all the pitfalls are, and that you can make sure when you want to take the final solution, you're taking all those things into account, and then you're building something that's robust and that doesn't have problems that you might then finish up going and undo. And I'll be very honest, there were one or two things that I wish I'd done in the prototype that I then had to go back in my solution to actually undo that and do it slightly different way because it didn't quite do what I wanted to do. So absolutely, I'd say do something, be prepared to waste some time, because it won't actually be wasted time. It will be time very, very well spent in the long term, because you'll finish up the solution that actually works the way you want it to do. So just be prepared to do that.
Thank you. Anything that you want to add? For anybody who wants to start now, what would be your advice?
Sorry, say that again.
If anybody wants to start with Creator now, what would be your advice? How should I go about adopting a platform like this?
So for me, I would advise that you would know exactly what it is that you want to do, what I said. So actually have your problem or the solution that you're looking for, and map it out. And what I would advise is that whoever you're actually creating it for, you sit with them and you 100% understand what it is they do in their job. Because what they tell you they do in their job is not what they do in their job. It's what is written in a procedure somewhere. But when you're sitting with them, you actually learn, that they go into this screen because this is it's easier than doing something else. So it's really important that you actually sit with the person and you map it and you understand it, that they're not giving you the workflow or they're not giving you the mapping. So you actually immerse yourself in it. You'll be amazed how expert I am in all different parts of our business now. I know it all. So it's kind of dangerous. But yeah, that's really important, that you understand it. And that you get buy-in, okay? So just because you think it's a really good idea, a lot of the time people don't like change. So you need their buy-in, you need them to come on board, you need them to want to do it. You need them for them to see the benefit. And one of the things that I noticed as well in some businesses, they make people dual. So what they do is they create something that makes something much easier, but they make them continue doing what they were doing anyway. So they're not getting any benefit. So you need to have the buy-in from those either in senior management or the buy-in from those doing it, and that they trust what you are doing will actually work for them. So it's very important that everybody understands the reason you're doing it and what you're expecting to get out at the end, and that the person gets a benefit from it. If the person gets a benefit from a new application, they will use it. You wouldn't believe the amount of apps I've created that people don't use. And that's being honest. I think I have about 6 that I put an awful lot of time and effort into, and they used them for about 3 weeks and never used them again. Yeah. And then I've got others that are used every day and they're crucial in the business. So you just have to be prepared for that and not take it personally. So that's okay.
Thank you so much. So, show of hands if anyone has a question. So we'll move to the audience question. I have one final question before we come. While we pass the mic.
Good morning. I have a small question for Amanda and a quick comment for Adrian. So Amanda, you said you created your Creator application for Ireland, but did you have any bad comments from the headquarters in Paris, for example, because you did something that is completely outside their maybe way of doing it? And I'll do the Adrian, so you can check after that.
Yeah.
Adrian, you said that creating an application is a waste of time. You will lose time, this is correct, and this is what I'm doing. But I find out that Creator is so flexible that even if you did a mistake, you can always go back and work and always go forward. And this is for me, the power of Creator. You can always go forward and forward, and forget the mistakes that are actually not mistakes, but just experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Your comments?
You obviously know how we work. So yes, there wasn't actually too much pushback. So what in Saint-Gobain, what we have to do is actually put an application forward for a security review. And I was able to prove that there wasn't anything out there that I could use. And I put Zoho through the security. And God love them. They had like a 40-page document with 120 questions that had to be answered in a way that Saint-Gobain approved. So they had to get security clearance, nearly like going into, classified information. But yes, I did actually, and they have been approved. So they are now being rolled out within the UK as well, which is.
Well, we don't like filling those documents, sorry. Generally, whenever a question around privacy, security comes up, we become happy because we know that we will have that edge when let's say we are being compared with, let's say, competitors and others. So that's actually a good, in a way, we look at that as a positive thing for us. The comment about the ease of making changes even if there is a mistake.
So, absolutely agree. The flexibility of Creator and the ease of being able to make changes is actually one of the biggest selling points I have in my solution. I work with a lot of people who've used lots of different types of software in the past, and they get very frustrated when they want to make a change, when they want something new, that they usually get hit with a 3-month lead time and a bill of probably several £1,000s. With Creator, I can be asked for a change. I can usually make it within 24, 48 hours, and quite often I kind of go, you know what, it was so simple, it was so easy, don't worry too much about it. So I'm building a lot of customer loyalty as a result of that. So you do have that ability to be able to correct things, to be able to fix things, to be able to make small changes very, very easily. I think the point that I was making though is there is always an underlying base right at the bottom of it all that kind of underpins every single form. So I'm not sure how many forms and workflows and things I've got on my system, but it's in the thousands. And there are some key elements that pretty much touch every single one of those forms. So having that base architecture, understanding that key little bit of information is absolutely critical, and that's why I really recommend investing that time up front to get that right. Because you make the high-level changes really, really quickly and easily, but if you get something wrong at that base level, that's when you're led into a whole world of pain. If you do need to change something, you've got to go through so many different places that you might need to do that, but actually it would be quite difficult and potentially quite damaging to the solution.
One related comment that I would have is, even though Creator is a low-code platform or any low-code platform for that matter, that planning and the business requirement document is equally important. Just because the pace at which you can build is faster doesn't mean that you can directly jump into the building phase. The planning phase, whatever you do, even in a traditional method, continue to do that, bring all the stakeholders together. Like Amanda rightly mentioned, is this really solving the problem? And then go on to the building stage. When that happens, the probability of errors or like the base fundamental errors will be avoided. So that makes our lives easier. Any other questions, please?
Hi, thanks. Great discussion so far. I have a question to Dave. Dave, you mentioned that you attended Zoholics a number of years ago, and it was part of the idea or being inspired to create a creator for your business. Would you recommend that rather than maybe sitting in the office alone trying to imagine a solution to a problem, that people should come to an event like this or connect with other users to try and get inspiration and ideas for how to do all of these things?
Thanks. Yeah, it's invaluable coming to these type of events. Innovation doesn't happen in your office; it happens out there. It doesn't happen at your desk, and that was a big part of it when we did create our all our apps, and then bunched them all together with our client service support. We went to all our clients, visited them in person when we could, and then when unfortunately the pandemic hit, we did a lot of Zoom stuff with them. But we looked at how they used our system in the same way Amanda was talking about, how they used our, let's call our version 1 of our portal. And some of the things you're looking at their screen or looking what they're doing, you go, the button's there. you have to not say it, to sort of stand back and look at how they use the system. So yeah, coming to Zoholics has always been great. They do one-to-ones with the Creator team when you're here is brilliant. The support with Zoho is fantastic as well, whether it's just in the online support. And then I think visiting the, as I would call the mothership in Chennai was very important as well, because the team there really saw the problem that we were having and did everything to try and fix it of this single sign-on that we were doing. Since then, we've actually our version 2, that's called our portal, is all our own code. The front end is all it's a PHP website, but all the back end is Zoho. But doing that initially when the portal was inside of Zoho, we didn't own the code, let's call it that. We didn't own it, so we couldn't put like Google Analytics on or any analytics system that we could see how users were using the portal. But now on this version, we've got all our own tools that we're able to monitor and view and see how people are using the portal, which is great. So, but it's very flexible. It was very flexible to do that. It wasn't like that wasn't a big leap. We just sort of went, well, okay, we'll just do the APIs back to Creator. The data is all stored in Creator.
Okay, could you add something too?
Sure.
Just to add a very quick thing to that, Dave said the support from Zoho is excellent, and I agree with that. I've had really good support, and I spend literally hours on the chats with them sometimes trying to figure out a really tricky solution. But also remember there is a whole network of people out there. So there are the Zoho partners, I've used Computer Cats, there are people with a lot of knowledge. Don't be afraid to go and ask the questions because they can provide insights that you might just not have thought about. So use that network, use that Zoho network, use the partner network, and just, the people you meet at an event like this, I think you'll find there's all people who are very happy to share their experiences. So really do use that network because it makes a big difference.
So we have an online forum, a community at Zoho.com, where users share their feedback. A problem that you face most probably would have been faced by someone else. So it's more of a sharing among the customers, among the partners, and that also helps. One personal thing that I would like to add here is all of us are busy, our lives are busy. So when we come to events like this, we will get some perception, not just Creator for that matter, not just Zoho for that matter, any new place that we go to, we will get exposed to certain things, we'll get some ideas, we will develop some convictions, which is fine. But the key difference is acting on those convictions, which not many of us have the bandwidth to do or not able to do. I think that is where I've seen that is where the difference is in terms of how you leave the meeting today, the sessions today, versus what impact it created in your organization 1 month down the line will be decided based on how much you act upon it. Sorry for coming in there, but I have one important question that I want to ask the panelists, but if there is anything else, we will take that and then go for the final question. At the back, question.
I just wanted to ask what level of customization have you been able to achieve with Zoho Creator? How did you do this with the HTML, the CSS, and kind of any of the buttons? And I feel like after speaking to some people, they said that you can really look at someone's website and see if they're using Zoho Creator or not. And have you been able to take it further at all from the default view?
It was a little bit difficult to hear that, but I think I got the gist of what you're asking. In my use case, I haven't really had to use any other tools to be able to customize what I have. The tools that are available in Creator actually have been more than sufficient to do everything that I've needed. There are options there. You can certainly integrate HTML, you can certainly integrate Java and things like that into the system if you've got those skills there. But Creator itself is a very, very rich platform, and actually, if you've got some basic understanding, you can use the ZML and some of those things. Actually, you can achieve pretty much anything that you might have wanted to achieve with some of those other solutions. So in my case, I've customized it as I've needed to, but within the tools that are available directly in Creator.
On most of my apps, no, we kept with Creator. On the EPOD, we have integrated we've put in widgets that we use JavaScript, simply because we have a diagram of a trailer, and we have like little diagrams, and we move things over onto the trailer, so it's very visual. And to get the movement of it, we've used JavaScript. We've used JavaScript and a couple of other things too, but it's been very easy to do. So we just package it up and save it onto it, and it actually is able to find the information it needs within Zoho Creator, and use Zoho Creator as the main source of information.
I suppose our version 1 was within the Creator domain, so it was our first application. Customers would know they were logging into Creator, but our current portal is on our own domain, so you wouldn't even know you're using Zoho Creator. We use CSS, we made our own user interface, which is very kind of feature rich from a customer user point of view. But as I said, they wouldn't. What we're doing is we're pulling data in from Creator and storing some of that locally on the web server. But then there's some real-time calls as well, and more secure data that we don't want to store on the hosting server. But yeah, you wouldn't know you're using Creator client services.
Thank you. So we've run out of time, so I'll finish with this last question. So all three of you, again, one tough one to finish the conversation. What is one thing you wish Creator did better? What is one thing you like the best about Creator? It can be a specific feature, it can be the power, any possible thing. And what is one thing that you wish Creator did better?
So I think the one thing that I would like Creator to do better is actually reporting. So I think the reporting sometimes can be a little bit restrictive. The way you can present the report can sometimes be a little bit restrictive. I'd like to see some more power behind the reporting, so you can create reports that are a little bit more colourful, if you like, and can actually pull data together from different forms a little bit more easily than they do at the moment. So that's one area that I like the most. In terms of what I like the most, actually, just the ease of use, the simplicity of being able to do something quite complex in very, very little time is just fantastic. And as Dave said earlier, the support you get is second to none.
What I like most about Creator is how good it makes me look in my job. Things that people think are quite complex are very easy to achieve sometimes, which is great. I suppose we have some issues similar to Adrian with the reporting, but we've started to use Zoho Analytics for everything. So we pull all our applications from Zoho, all the data into Analytics, including our Creator apps. So that's kind of helped us there. So there's nothing I can think, to be honest with you, that's how I go, well, it did this better. It's been a fantastic journey. It's a great app, and I think anybody who has that problem that they need a solution for should certainly look at Creator as being the app to touch on.
You're being very kind here.
I think at the moment, I don't think I have anything that could do better, because I had a list. Okay, I have a list, they've all been addressed, so I don't have anything anymore. And I have to say, what I really like about Zoho is the support, the customer support is excellent. I actually don't think there is another system out there that I've used that I have the same level of service. And I actually think the Zoho family is great. So those forums are brilliant. You throw a question in there and you've got 10 different people trying to answer you at the same time, which is really good.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause for all three of them, because they were very sweet and kind in accepting this, and then they came with an open mind. And thank you so much for all this opinion and feedback. All three of you, thank you so much. Thanks.